Hey folks, what's up? It is Friday. Obviously it's Friday because I come to you live every Friday. I don't even know why I come to you live some weeks like two or three times that week, so I can't even say that. So yeah, but it's Friday. I'm in Jersey. It's humid. I don't like the summer, but I enjoy doing these shows during the summer because it's great to have guests come on, have a good time, talk about what they got going on, or just talk about their whole journey as far as being artists, creatives. Awesome. So this week. I have got someone who I've checked out his work a few times. Had a really great time laughing with him at last year's New York Comic Con. Hopefully, have more laughs this year at New York Comic Con. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some laughs. Already were laughing a couple of minutes ago the about names and just leaving off one letter and grandparents and yeah, just does it, folks. Look, this is a show. Let's go. Hey, what's up, folks? It is the Hungry Bleak Show. I am Antonio Pomares, aka the hungriest Bleak. Jeez, I'm the hungriest man in the room, but you can call me the hungriest Bleak. I think I am the hungriest out of all of us. I'm probably the only one, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. So, we got a great show coming up today, but as always, I got to check on you, make sure you're okay. So, how was your week? How was work? I know. Like I always say, you're doing what you got to do today, so you can do what you want to do tomorrow, right? I know them people be saying stuff and you be wanting to do other things, but just remember that check, that check is what you got right now. So chill. But what you want to do tomorrow is helping being funded by what you're doing today. It's cool. How your loved ones, your family. Yeah, they be saying things sometimes too. Yeah. I know. But they're your loved ones, they're your family, you know, that's why they're your loved ones. Sometimes they say stuff, you have your little, go back and forth. They say something crazy, or they say, "Hey, I don't want nothing to eat." When you went out, got something to eat, then they want a little bit of your fries, or y'all both got something to eat. They want a little bit of yours because they think yours look better. Switch the food on you. It happens. I know, but it's cool. Don't worry about it. Did you drink water today? Did you take your meds? I'm not trying to please you, just trying to make sure that you take care of whatever you got to take care of. And those meds are here to make you feel better, whether it's for physical, mental, or emotional ailment. So remember, take your meds, chill. But I'm gonna keep asking you every Friday. Don't worry about it. You good? You set? Okay. So today I'm gonna have a really fun guest on. It is Omari Malik. I'm already laughing on his name because we had a conversation about names earlier, and as you know, I can understand troubles with name stuff like that. Uh, saw his work a few years ago and absolutely loved it. Read this kind of anthology issue that he had out, uh, Blacktooth Battalion, and was absolutely dope and loved the perspectives, the different characters. I've never seen a guy have like seven dogs in his apartment and having a conversation, but I absolutely loved it. And y'all know that I'm a dog person, so that hit me even more. Then we got tattoos of snakes, and we have shape shifting of young Blackwood. That's a lot going on, and that's awesome. So, look, without any further ado, this is Omari Malik.
What's up? What's up? Thank you so much for having me.
What's going on, sir? First off, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you. And how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Like you said, I'm in New York City. It's loud. It's hot, but I can't complain.
That's New York. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even know how to explain that to you. Like, that's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's especially on a day like today,
Yeah.
but it makes it work somehow. Being like hot and humid in New York, you just take it and you just go, all right, and you just go on and do whatever you got to do.
It's it's as if we weren't already stuck in our old ways and just angry trying to get through. It's even worse in the summer.
Yeah. Like there's nothing like being in peak summer. There's nothing like being on the train on the other train. First off, going downstairs and it's all that condensed air and it's there's nothing right about it, but you still do it. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't
It's unreal.
know. It is. And for some reason I'm missing it because I'm going to be up there tomorrow. Like 95% sure I'm going to be there tomorrow. I mean, I don't want to deal with that, but then I go, yeah, you know what? That's
Can't beat it. Can't
that's
beat
it. I mean, dollar pizza on every corner. How can I not love that? I mean, I'm saying, yeah, it's cardboard and like a little bit of sauce, but it's cool. Don't worry about it. Sorry, I'm still eat it. Buy 2 slices and have a Fanta. I don't care. So tell us about how you got into comics.
So it's a loaded question because I feel like I kind of had no choice but being in the comics. And when I say I had no choice, like my pops was a '90s comic collector.
Okay.
So I'm a late '90s baby, and for people that know a little bit of comic history or know what happened in the '90s, comics were all the rage. People were buying
Yes.
a bunch of comics, and my dad was that guy, not buying them just to be a speculator, but literally just buying them because he wanted the stuff, was into the stuff. So I grew up surrounded by comic books, trading cards, sports cards, Jeff Gordon, like statue figures. Like I grew up around all that stuff. Like that was my thing. And then like I was also a little boy that they were just like, oh, this is for boys. So Spider-Man sheets, football sheets, like anything that
Mhm.
like you wanted to give a little boy in the late '90s. Like I was into wrestling. I was into all of that stuff, right? So I've kind of always been in the comics. Like I was the kid that knew who Iron Man was before the MCU, like because I was flipping through long boxes and I knew about Spawn and I knew about all that stuff. Like I knew who Chuck Dixon was when nobody like, like what's
Mhm.
a Bane? Like I knew all that stuff. So I've always been in the comics, right? Like that's just always been my thing. What I will say though, like I feel like I came into my own with it when I was like in eighth grade. Like eighth grade was the moment where it went from all right, I'm flipping through all of my dad's long boxes to going to the internet and be like, mother, I just looked this up. There's a comic book store 30 minutes away. Can
Oof.
you drive me there? Like, can you drive me there? I need to buy more comics. I've looked through all of these long boxes. I want
Mhm.
new stuff.
That's crazy. I see. I'm much older than you, obviously.
Yeah,
So I never even thought about anyone being born in that time when there was that comics bubble.
yeah,
When it was at a certain point, everybody there were comics every you couldn't walk 2 feet without there being a comic somewhere. It was in stores. It was in they even like started having them in like comic shops and malls and everything.
yeah,
I never thought about like somebody being born in that era and having that access. I would have lost my mind because it
yeah.
like 'cause that's crazy because I know for me, unfortunately, when I was a kid, there was no internet, there was no Wi-Fi, anything like that, and the first time I really got a comic myself that I felt, was my own, it was X-Force. The original in the poly like everything. This is how long ago it was. I had to mail order it.
See, like,
That So I had to get a comic that I didn't really care for or like or what
yeah,
have you, and I had to cut off the page in the back so I could mark down I want this for this. Exactly. That's how I look at it. The way you looking at me shaking my head is how I
yeah,
am in my head. Like you really, but that's old school. So I can imagine being able to look it up and the joy of seeing, oh, there's one within a reasonable driving distance for you.
yeah. Like,
I think that's beautiful.
yeah. So that's what I mean when I say it. I know it's hit this extra plateau of mainstreamness, but like for me, it always felt at least like because my dad was in it, and like
Hmm.
so it's like bro, like I remember having the Batman and Robin toys. Like you feel me?
Yes.
Like I had
Hmm.
those toys. Like those were my things, and it's like because they went hand in hand. Like I didn't have to discover Batman was in a comic book because I'm watching the animated series and I'm flipping through my dad's long
Yeah.
boxes, and I'm like, okay, this is the same thing. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna. Oh wait, Tim Drake's a little bit young here, but in this Chuck Dixon Tim Drake book, he's a little bit older. So I guess I gotta wait till the TV show to catch up to this. Like it
Yeah.
was that sort of thing.
That's yeah. Again, I didn't. Yeah, you had so many more properties out. Like you had like the whole slew of animated stuff out there,
Yeah,
and you had even more coming out at that time. So you were the time that you were really like it was like you were like really immersing yourself into it was at like peak when it was like starting to really go up. Damn,
Yeah.
I'm jealous of you in a way, man. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm jealous in a way. That's cool. So how did that? So how did that just love and I mean you pretty much I mean it's literally in your DNA.
Yeah, so it's so funny, and I kind of laugh because I've always because of that I've always wanted to do comics. Like I've like
Hmm.
kind of always wanted to create, but I laugh and say I was too stupid to realize that was a job. Like I didn't understand that. Oh, some Chuck Dixon works at DC. Like, oh, Todd McFarlane, yeah, but like I guess I'm also the confusion also probably happened because of like, well, Todd McFarlane owns Spawn and writes Spawn. You will be like
Mm.
Toriyama looking at Dragon Ball Z. Toriyama writes Dragon Ball Z and draws it. Like I always thought I had to create my own stuff, so it was never an idea to be like, oh, I want to work for Marvel, I want to work with DC. It was like I need to create stuff. If I want to do comics, I need to create something. So like my early years of even practicing drawing, like if you look at my old like notebooks, like you're not gonna see a lot of drawings of Batman and Superman and stuff, but you will see me creating my own rudimentary characters because I'm like, I want to do comics, I gotta make it. Everybody makes comics, makes their own stuff, you know?
That's a healthy mindset, though. I'm not even gonna lie. Oh, I think we may have lost connection with Omari. Excuse me. Let me see if we can get him back or if he can pop in. While we're waiting for that, I would say that's a very interesting mindset to have, um, and actually healthy for them to be, to have that mindset of, oh well, I see them creating this. Like McFarlane is a perfect example. I mean, McFarlane and Spawn, obviously, perfect example. Um, and you don't see it as a job, but you see it as it's their creation. That's incredible. Um,
Yeah, I don't know
and
what happened, but I'm back. I'm back.
that's good. Well, no, well, I was just saying that's a very incredible and healthy mindset to have. Of I want to create my own thing. Like if your dream is to write Spider-Man, or if your dream is to write for any established character for whatever company, I'm not going to begrudge you for it. That's a beautiful and lofty goal. Please strive for it. But to have one where you're saying, I want to create my own because you saw McFarlane, who was, I want to say at that point, McFarlane was that guy.
He's a superstar, man.
I mean, Spawn was unheard of. And when Spawn came out, nobody would have known that. Nobody. And it set so many dominoes in effect with creators. So that's a very healthy mindset. I'm glad that that was something that you grew up with. So how did you come up with Blacktooth Publishing and the origins of these characters?
So as I mentioned, like it was always my thing to have my own stuff. So it's like it has gone through a plethora of names throughout the course of middle school and high school and all that sort of stuff. And I had all right, so looking how I look, right? Telling people that you want to do comic books, you know, doesn't seem like the most realistic thing when you grow up in Richmond, Virginia, and nobody knows anybody that does comic books.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't understand it because I was also a punk rock kid that wanted to play guitar. I didn't understand it when my family was like, "Don't get a lip piercing, go to school, do these practical things." But I'm very appreciative that they told me that. I'm very appreciative. So I bring that up to say, I got pushed into going to college. Like my family pushed me to go to college. I went to school. I ended up getting a bachelor's. I ended up getting a master's. But when I finished my bachelor's and I was about to start my first job, I really just had like I want to say like a early 20 crisis, like an early 20s crisis where I was like, I'm
Mm.
about to have a cubicle. I don't want to do this. Like, what do I want to do? Like, this isn't what I want. Like, I did this just so everybody would kind of leave me alone. And granted, I thoroughly enjoyed college. Oh, too much. I enjoyed college too much, right? And I joined the frat. I did all the amazing college things you want to do, and I really liked it. But I was just sitting there like, I don't want to be in a cubicle. I don't want to do this. What do I want to do? And comic books. Like that's was the thing that I thought about was comic books. And my girlfriend at the time, like she was very supportive and very helpful in the sense of like that summer before I started like my 1 year of grad school because I did a 5 year program,
Hmm.
and I'm working internship, and we're trying to put these things together, and I'm picking out ideas. I'm like, what am I going to do if I take this seriously? And that was kind of the birth of like trying to do it for real. And I finished grad school, started a job in New York City, Rockefeller Center, as a broker. As you can understand, like things were coming fast. It was a good time. Money was being made, so I got a little bit distracted, I will admit. Like, and it wasn't until the pandemic where when everything stopped and I wasn't going into the office, and I wasn't busy, and I was kind of by myself, that I was like, oh yeah, I don't like this. Like I like the money I'm making, but like I don't want to do this. So that's
Mm.
when during the pandemic, like everything happens for a reason. So thank you to my mother and all my family for pushing me to going to college in corporate America, because when I decided to take it seriously again a second time, post being into my career a little bit, I understood business. I understood how to put together proposals. Like I understood like how to finance something, how to project manage, how to balance things. So when I began to take it seriously, and shout out, we were talking about it earlier, Greg Anderson Elize, the creator of
Hmm.
Exana. Greg's my mentor. Like I met Greg at a con, and I'm just like, bro, I don't know what to do. And me and Greg were on Zooms during the pandemic. He was giving me tips, and I took what he gave me, mixed in with my business knowledge to formulate Blacktooth Publishing, and kind of hit the ground running.
That's a wild story. That's a wild story, but that makes sense. It's what hearing that I've heard people have conversations like that, or stories about that, like how they've always had a passion for X, Y, and Z. But they had this job where it was a steady job and they were making good money and they did everything that you're supposed to do. School this everything you're supposed to do, like you're saying, but they still had this thing in the back of their head that they wanted to do. I hear it a lot because I watch a lot of Food Network.
Yeah,
I heard a lot with chefs. So to hear it in our culture of a geek and nerd and comics is crazy to hear, and that's amazing. And Greg is one of the nicest people possible. He's one of the best people possible. He's someone where whenever I see him at a con, like there's a hug, we'll talk for a ways about X, Y, and Z, what have you, from any and everything from comics to wrestling. And I love the fact that you also said wrestling, because I love talking to the wrestling with black people because it's beautiful to have that. So I'm glad you had him as a mentor because he's one of the best out there, and he has that mentality to want to uplift and bring people into the fold, which is beautiful.
yeah,
Mhm.
man. Greg's the man. It was one of those things where, funny enough, right? So, I met Greg like, well, shout outs to my ex girlfriend, but like I said, like when she heard I wanted to do comics and we lived in New York City, she brought me into the black comic book space in New York
That
City with bringing like being like, hey, we should go to the Schomburg, like let's go to New York Comic Con and stuff like that. So she like helped me with that, and Greg was one of those people that we met there, and just chopping it up. Like I live in Brooklyn, and hearing that Greg used to work at my local comic book store, that's like when I decided to take it seriously, like I hit up Greg and I'm like, hey man, like I met you. You said you worked at Bulletproof. Like I live in Brooklyn. You live in Brooklyn. Yo, can you help me? Like,
that
and he was very nice about it, man. Like literally, like I can't thank Greg enough for even taking me to my first con as a vendor when I just given him my books, being like, hey man, I actually did it. He's like, oh shit, print more of these. Come do a convention with me. And I'm like
that
what? What? And so, I have to shout out Greg all the time, bro. Like one of those things, and I obviously for anybody else, I implore people to get mentors, or just get someone to bounce an idea off, or just get someone that is a couple steps ahead of you. That way, they can show you what to do.
yeah, that it's always important to have that. And Shout out to Greg, obviously, and to mentors who are willing to do that and who are willing to bring people again into the fold and bring in that next generation and not be gatekeepers, because we still do see gatekeepers, unfortunately. But there are a lot of people who are out there who are like, hey, you know what, I see what you're doing, I love it. Maybe try this and this, see how that works, and working with you to bring out the best that you have, and to pay it forward to the next generation. So whoever, you see somebody in 10, 15 years, you can impart the same knowledge upon them, and not just that knowledge, but also knowledge that you've learned throughout doing things as well. So that combined knowledge of that's incredible. I love hearing that. Love it. So okay, so the comics that you have, how did you come up with the characters, and what are their stories? Let's start with Snakebite.
Okay, so I like to tell so my I'm gonna this is the first time I've mentioned this, but like my writing quirk, I think to me is I like a story that's about I like to use like superheroes or whatever as a mask for what the story is really about, right? So
Okay.
Snakebite, I mean, the elevator pitch version is the main character. Him and his friends are starting to get in a little bit of trouble. They get tattoos. His tattoos happen to give him superpowers, so now he has to decide whether or not he wants to be a hero or a villain. And what I mean when I say I like to use superhero elements to kind of mask like the general premise or idea that I'm exploring, it's basically making choices. And when I say making hard choices, because all my stories are kind of personal, but like I mentioned it earlier briefly, like when I say I was a punk rock kid, when I was in middle school and starting to get into Green Day and hardcore bands, my friend group, we were jumping off the porch. Like my friends were, we're black and we live in Richmond, Virginia, so the trouble is around. you know,
Hmm.
like that's when people were starting to experiment with smoking, starting to realize, oh, we live in a certain neighborhood, we go to a certain school, and people in that neighborhood don't like us because we live in this neighborhood, and kids that go to that school don't like us because we go to this school. So while that was happening, and people are starting to choose sides, the little antics that we were getting into started getting more serious. I was staying in the house because I couldn't learn guitar outside. I couldn't learn guitar running around trying to
Yeah.
gang bang. I couldn't practice for hours if I was starting to gang bang, starting to smoke, starting to get into trouble. And I just kind of wanted to explore that idea of what if I had almost used guitar as a more destructive thing? Like, what if what I was getting into would have worked in both cases? Because his superpowers can be done used for good, or if he wants to jump into the streets, they can make him an even stronger force there. So,
Hmm.
like, I wanted to explore that with a comic book and, you know, speak to that because I like a lot of stories. Like, a lot of us, like, we see hood movies, we see things like that, like the Juices, the Boys in the Hood, but they never speak to, at least for me, of like, you make a few of those mistakes. Like when I say
Yeah.
you make a few of those mistakes, like there's the good kid that has also been there when his friends are doing graffiti. There's the good kid that's like he might not have shot lifted, but he kept look while his friends were doing things. Like
Hmm.
there are the good kids that dabbled, and unfortunately, some make mistakes where they can't correct the behavior or something escalates, like whether you listen to drill music or hear the stories and how a lot of things happen where you lose somebody and that makes you where you would have made the choice not to go that way, some grief now is pulling you into that because you've lost somebody or a friend of you, somebody that was providing for you is gone. So now you have to step up to be a provider and things like that. So I wanted to have a superhero book that kind of talked about that and heightened it with superhero stakes.
That's the feeling of the book. But to have it for you to say too that yeah, the choices can, like, sometimes it's not so black and white as you can either go this way or that way. Sometimes it can be a merger of the things. Sometimes you can jump back and forth between them. But those decisions, those choices do shape a lot. And if you have the responsibility, let's say, of a superpower, you can, it's usually like you go one of two ways. You either become that hero or you become that villain. So I get that definitely hits. With choices are always a huge determining factor in something. So to have it be that deep of you can and powers don't make it any better.
Exactly.
Especially trying to make choices as a teenager. It's not good. How many of us made good choices as teenagers? I mean, honestly,
Not a lot of us, man.
for unless you were in the house, But
Yeah.
even then, you might have been making bad decisions. You know what I mean? So yeah, that definitely hits. Now the next, excuse me, the next one we'll talk about is dog pile, which I think I kind of related to a lot as being a dog person, but just there was so much in here that I loved that I laughed and I like kind of like went. I was like, oh, but there was a lot there and things I didn't expect. But and tell us about dog pile.
Yeah, so Dog Pound to me, it's a story of grief, and it's a story of grief and kind of navigating without direction. It's like or navigating, or I'll say navigating through the fall. Like you want to do something, you don't know how to get there, but you just know you're destined for more. But you know, it's I don't want to say related to like Friends, but you know how everybody in Friends wanted something, but you didn't really know what their goals were, but like they're all made it seem like they were the most important people. But just I guess that feeling of being in your early 20s and wanting to be more, or wanting to be or be helpful to other people, or even yourself, and just having not necessarily having no one to turn to, but having your own creative family, and then just trying to get over that hump. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just trying to try despite despite, everything around you not being the most conducive to try.
Mm. And this one, the fact that he's able to have I didn't think that he was actually having a conversation with the dogs. I thought it was just him like talking to the dogs.
Yeah.
You know how you just talk to a dog. You don't expect a dog to. Sometimes a dog will give you a look like they know what you're saying, but you just keep going. He was actually talking to the dogs. I was like, okay, all right, bet. And then yeah, there was just a lot of here that I really did love because it was some zany stuff that I felt could have been in like an anime, which I love the idea of, and then powers as well, and the ending of it. Well, not the ending, but the end of the beginning, let's say, or the beginning of the I don't know what they were. The end of the beginning, and him sitting the bedside with what was the young boy's name? Elliot? No.
Yes, Elliot.
It
Yeah.
was Elliot. Okay, Elliot really caught me. Um, can I even ask you, how does he get these powers?
So without spoiling too much, like
Okay,
I
yeah.
mean, it says it like it's a mysterious accident. So, and I'll say this for general, like within Blacktooth world, like it's not necessarily a shared universe. Like it's not interdependent because being a big comic guy, I've always hated that technically Gotham is across a harbor from Metropolis, but Superman does not help whatsoever. Like that has always just bugged me, or just like
Never.
moving to New York and realizing how close Hell's Kitchen is to where Avengers Tower would be, and like people just be seeing Wilson Fisk do whatever he want and don't help. That's always just like bugged me,
Right.
right? So what I will say for Blacktooth is if at any point I decide to cross things over, they'll be in kind of different states. But
Hmm.
the power system, it's vague and I don't really describe it, but it's based off to me Obia or Bruja and kind of like our innate power. So when I say like he has powers, and for people that believe in African spirituality, and I know a lot of things like with sinners coming out, like people are starting to think about those things. It's like
Hmm.
in my opinion, bro, we had powers, we just forgot how to use them, or we got taught how, or we got taught like how to be afraid of them. So within his powers, like he's his family and the mysterious accident. They're people that never forgot how to use those powers. They never forgot how to use those connections.
Hmm. That's oof, damn, that's a word right there. Um, I ain't even mad at that statement because
Yeah.
yeah, Sinner's bringing more to the forefront about um the folklore that wasn't lost, but that was taken from us.
Exactly.
Um, and all of our spirituality and and how different cultures have even done it. I mean, yeah, there's a lot that can be said about there's a lot that can be said about, but I love that idea of it not being a science experiment or like not that there's anything wrong with that if that's what you choose to go with as far as a character's origins. I love different origins, like how someone actually gets their powers, what have you. Sometimes I don't like origins, but when it's like indie characters that are ground floor, I like knowing about their origins and what have. I don't need step by step explanations, but I like knowing a vague idea. But even you saying like Bruja, and just from that, that's enough for me. I'm like, I'm good. I'm so
Yeah.
good. I'm so good with that as an answer. That's a very. I feel like that's almost like a Stan Lee kind of answer because when he talked about X-Men, he was like, I ran out of things to happen to people. So I just said that they were born with their powers. I
Yeah.
ran out of ideas. That's legit. And I was like, I'm not mad at you for that. I'm not mad at you. That's where mutants and metahumans are just born
Yeah.
with it. Yeah, this one, like I said, this one hit me the most. I think just because of that ending and him saying, "I am his family," and the responsibility of him, like that stray bullet, because the scene was wild, and that stray bullet, you like coming off of his forearm and hitting the child, because you don't even see it. One of the dogs says it,
Yeah.
which is very. It caught me way off guard, and I was like, "Oh wait," because I was like into the action, I was laughing, and then that happened. I was like, "Oh damn, we just took it down. Wait, hold on a second, we got to slow down for a second." Because even in the fight, like that part becomes very serious because even when he knocks my man out, because he's like, it's not worth the check. This kid's not worth it. It's done with this. You feel there was a very big like tonal shift in that story, and I appreciate a tonal shift because it makes me it change. It's almost like changing workouts. Like, oh, I'm so used to doing this workout that you change it and it makes the muscle react differently. That's what I like. Like when there's a tonal shift and I have to think differently. Like, oh, okay, you're going to whole. This ain't going to be some zany adventure. I appreciate that, and I absolutely loved it. Also, let me say I love the art styles in all three of these stories.
Thank you. Thank you.
They're beautiful, and I love how they're distinctively different, but they still hit. And I love, yeah, just the writing. Everything was on point with these stories. First off, let me just say that for you. Um, so yeah, I'm appreciating very much, and the always have to leave uh the ladies for the for the biggest part of the conversation because I love that. Tell us about Adastra.
So at Astra, I like to say this one is inspired by that same ex girlfriend that helped me a lot with putting what would become Blacktooth together, and then my younger sister, and
Hmm.
both of them are Geminis. Both of them are Geminis, and for people that know anything about Geminis, Geminis, they tend to have multiple personalities and things like that, and
Hmm.
they're both rambunctious people, and I'm a little bit older than I'm like 7 years older than my sister, right?
Hmm.
So we grew up together, but I watched her grow up as a true big brother. And when I say a true big brother, like I saw her like Barney, I saw her like Dora, I saw her like Hannah Montana. Like I saw her go through different phases, and wanting to be a lawyer, wanting to be a YouTuber, wanting to go to private school, then being in private school and be like, oh, I want to go back to public school. Like I saw her change her mind a lot and do
Hmm.
things, and and I've also knowing my experience, and not that it was a bad one, like I said, where it's like I was pushed to do practical things, like trying to be that helping hand for her and being like, hey man, if you say you want to be a YouTuber, like that's possible. Like I'll help you navigate that. Like what do you want to do? Like tell me how we can get there. So at Astra, playing into that idea of a story that's about something, but really something else. It's about really what can you do if you could be anything you want. And I feel like the best way to embody that is to have a shapeshifter. So she can be anything she wants, but she's struggling to be herself because she's a teenager, bro. Like she's a middle child in high school, where she is literally told she can be anything she wants. And I don't think people understand the pressure of that when you can do it. And when I say when you can do it, it's for black kids like myself. Like I'm not a first generation college kid. My mother went to college, right?
Hmm.
So there was a bit of a foundation for me where it was like I was still getting it out the mud. Don't My mother didn't have I didn't have full ride money. I just hey, I did it, and we didn't grow up in the projects. Like, so it's
Hmm.
you had the opportunities where it was like, if I didn't do something with my life, people were gonna look at me like, bro, you wasted this opportunity. Like, you could have been anything. So that's what I wanted the story to be about, and to kind of play up with my younger sister and the pressures that black women have. And like, I look at my ex girlfriend, and like, she helped me get through St. John's because she was a goddamn scholar. Like, she was smart as hell, like
Hmm.
she was also foreign, so she was from a different country that came to school in America. So she had everybody back home riding her to make it. It's like, bro, you're
Yeah.
sending you to school in America. Like, you have to do this. You have to make it. Like, we did the work. Now we're giving you the opportunity to be anything. Go be it. So to see those two things, and to kind of relate that through a superhero lens of like, all right, I guess in the real world, it's like my ex girlfriend and my sister had to be people, but for a dad, it's like she has to be a hero. So it's like she has all this life stuff, and then you got to be
Mm.
a superhero. You know?
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, yeah. I mean, first and foremost, you are a person because you got to deal with trials and tribulations, everything that just comes with being a human being. Then you add on top of that being black, being a woman, being a teenager. You have everything hitting you all at one
Yeah.
time. You got between school and home and trying to figure out what you want to do. You got, men looking at you a certain way because you are, but becoming a woman. You got to figure out what that means and where you going on with that. And your body's changed and your chemicals are changed all in your brain. You're trying to figure out that. Then add on top of that, hey, here's a superpower. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
So again, that kind of puts in choices because when she even weighs out that, oh, I'm going to be my teacher and looking for the answer sheet, like that was even like a choice of making. But again, who made a lot of great choices as a teenager? I'm not putting my hand up because I know I didn't.
You-
So, yeah, adding on to those all those layers of her and
like I
who
said,
she has to become.
yeah, and like for me, I don't like to do the cliche thing because I know it's popular with comics. It's like, oh, they're a flawed hero, just for the sake of like being edgy and cool. It's just like, for me, it's
Mhm.
like, bro, people, we're only doing we're doing the best we can in that moment.
Yes, yes.
And I it's been a thing that I've loved and hated about comic books, where I'm like, God damn it, Peter, you don't want to do anything shisty, nothing at all, Peter. Like, you don't do, like, listen, Peter, like,
Mhm.
at this point, we're not gonna blame you if you do anything a little bit sketchy just to get over the hump. And like, or the reverse, like for the characters that do the sketchy things, it's like, Jesus Christ, all right, Wolverine, you're gonna kill everybody, like, Jesus Christ, like Anakin, you're gonna kill everyone because your mom died. Like,
So
it,
nobody's getting out.
it,
Nobody.
it's one of those things where it's like, no, like, you do a little a minor thing, something that is harmless, or something that, yeah, it's not the Saturday morning cartoon ending where it's like, all right, kids, don't do that, or the
Mhm.
Family Matters, or 90 sitcom special episode thing where you decide to say no. It's like, nah, we did the bad thing and we learned from it, and hopefully we don't do it again. But we're people, or even showing people where it's like, all right, you can be fallible, you know.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, people are so complex. I mean, yes, we do have people who are bad, and we do have the people who are good, and some of us, like you said, are just trying to do the best we can at that moment. Like I also everything that I say, I'm not a good person, I'm not a bad person. I'm just trying to do the best I can with what I got on that day.
Yeah.
If I succeed, great. If I don't, I got to chalk it up. Next day is the next day to reset. Let's see what we can go on. Add on top of that powers. I mean, there are gonna be times when I'm gonna go. I mean, nobody's looking. I mean, there are gonna be times when you're going to do something because you have that. If somebody hurts you enough, you might go, or someone hurts someone that you love enough, you might go. Or if you see some, you know, a
Oh,
bank that you go. I mean, I am a teleporter.
listen, listen. People are lucky I don't have powers, because I would be a heel. I would be a heel. I just want like, we talked about wrestling. I am a heel. Like, if I had superpowers, I just want everyone to know I am a heel. And when I
I,
say I'm a heel, I'm not the heel that just walks into the locker room and is just interrupting everybody's match. It's just like I am not waiting in any lines. I want you to know this right now. I'm not waiting in any lines for anything. Like
I,
you know,
I know damn well you if you got the money in the bank briefcase, it's a wrap. It's over.
come on,
It's a wrap. It's
come on.
over.
Come on, just like Damian Priest last year. Oh my God, Drew, you were having your WrestleMania moment.
Nah, bet. But that was Drew's fault. I'm not even gonna get onto it. But that was Drew's fault. Drew,
Come on,
why he's so focused on Punk? He was like, yeah, I took the opportunity. I mean,
come on. I'm telling you, like, listen, Finn Balor would not have to have relinquished the title. I'd be like, oh, your shoulder hurts. I'm cashing in.
it's a wrap.
Just,
It's over.
oh my
It's over.
God, Roman, you have leukemia? Cash in. Like,
Oh, bruh, what? Damn, it got dark.
I'm a heel, man.
But you know what? Dean actually turned on Seth that night, so I can't even be mad. Dean,
Exactly.
they had that big hug. He was like, "Oh yes," and then they were still tag champs. And he said, "Nah, I'm good. Done with this." That was the worst night. I guess nobody was expecting it too. I mean, who expected that night?
Come on.
I think I might have to have you on again to just talk about wrestling for like an hour. Just go through
I,
Rock.
I so me and my homies, like, we're big wrestling dudes. We were at Elimination Chamber. I was there.
Oh,
I saw Cena turn heel. Like, I'm a big wrestling guy, and I do both promotions. So I go see. I was at Christmas Collision at 34th Street for
nice,
AEW. I was at Forbidden Door last year, so I got to see Swerve and Osprey. Like, I'm a big wrestling guy.
dude. I don't really deal with tribalism.
Yeah,
I just want to see great wrestling, like whether it's WWE, whether it's AEW, whether it's TNA, whether it's CMLL, whether it's
yeah,
AAA, whatever is. Whether I'm trying to get into the Yoshi stuff because I see who comes out of the Yoshi promotion. I'm like, I want to see them in Japan just wrecking and seeing some of like the way the hard hitting, and I forgot what her name was, but she's got this reverse like spinning kick that it looks like your head's gonna spin around 360, and it's dashly. And I've read like a couple of wrestling comics,
yeah.
and there were like they just captured it perfect. I was there to do a power bomb.
Oh, Daniel Warren Johnson, man, I love it. Love
That
that.
was like, to me that was peak because he was telling multiple stories. I mean, you have the art and you have the writing, and he's telling the story of her becoming a wrestler, but then you also have to tell the story in the wrestling match. So
Yeah,
he's writing a comic, he's also booking matches. He's also like, coming up with gimmicks and everything for them,
yeah,
entrances, their moves, everything. That's a lot. But that showed so much love. And it was just that was an impulse buy for me too.
yeah.
I'll just see what it is. And I read it and I was like, oh, oh. It made me immediately want to go and watch New Japan Pro Wrestling because I was able to get it on cable at this time.
Yeah,
And I was watching, and I was like, this dude and then it turned out that he was a wrestling fan. I was like, oh damn. I didn't
makes
realize he was a big wrestling fan.
yeah.
Did not know that. So your stories are incredible. I absolutely love what Blacktooth Publishing has going on right now. What's the future? Do you have anything coming up?
Yeah, so the books, they're one shots, as people
Mhm.
know, but they're one shots, and to me, they're pilot episodes for a first season or for
Awesome.
a continuous series, right? So
Mhm.
I've already started writing and working on the first arcs for each. Like, I, I don't want to say I want to do it like TV, but that's kind of the model that I'm thinking about. So it's like, all right, listen, man, like, I'm gonna write a first arc that's gonna be a graphic novel, a couple issues. That'll be your first season. It's gonna be a complete story. Boom. Take some time, work on the next thing that's gonna follow up for that. So that's what I want to do with all three. I'm also working on a novel, because I want people to really understand that Blacktooth Publishing is a publishing company. Like,
Mhm.
I love comic books, but also like novels. I like documentaries. I love that sort of stuff. So, I am gonna put like the next release that I'm hoping to have out around like August, September. It's gonna be a novel. I'm finishing up some things with that, and I do stuff for my friends. So when I say I do stuff for my friends, like, I have friends that are into fashion, and I've done like one-off comics with them. So I want to continue to do stuff like that, or whether it's my friends or people that want to pull at me and pull up on a Greg or somebody and ask for some help. Like I want to be able to help people and do what I can.
Nice. That's the beauty of the community, is that having that actual community.
Yeah,
Being able, like, everybody is able. Oh, hey man, I can't help you with this, but let me put you in touch with somebody who can. Or, oh yeah, sure, I'd love to help you out with that. Or, hey man, can you help me out with this? Having that community, that sense of community is beautiful. So I love to see it thriving. And because that's how you were kind of, helped and brought in, like, you're just continuing that.
yeah.
That's the beauty of it. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much for doing that. Now, you like you talking about comics and wrestling, but pretty much everything geek culture, honestly. Like, what are three things that are hitting you right now? Is it whether it's a comic, whether it's animated, whether it's wrestling? Like, what's hitting you right now?
Right now, well, I have to say wrestling, like that. I'm a big wrestling guy, so I love that Naomi won Money in the Bank. Love that. I think that's super dope, man. I'm happy
Yes.
to see her like turn up with that. A little mad that Seth won Money in the Bank, but I love his faction. Like if I
Mm,
was, I'm a writer, right? So this is the reason why I'm into writing is I was doing this every time I watch something. I'm like, that needs to be this or this needs to be that. I
mm,
love Seb's faction. I even like that. But in my head, right, I was fantasy booking that Austin Theory would be the third guy because I want to see Austin Theory get a big push. But Big Bronson Reed coming through, I'm like, okay, cool.
mm,
Like I'm not mad at that. So wrestling is a big thing. I need some. I also talk about AEW. I need someone to take the belt away from John Moxley. Like I like Moxley. I've seen him wrestle a bunch of times. He's
yeah.
cool. I need someone to take that belt from him because he doesn't
Yeah.
even carry it. He doesn't even carry it.
Yeah.
But I need
Yeah.
someone. I need someone to take that from him. Other things that have me right now. I've been doing because I'm writing a novel. I've been reading a bunch of novels.
Mm.
I don't know if people are familiar with a series of books called the Bluford High books. So,
No, I'm not.
so Bluford High books. I read them originally like when I was in middle school, but I don't know if they're actually written by black people. But they center around an inner city high school called Bluford High, and they're about just a bunch of like high school drama, whether it's like people having their first boyfriends, people starting to get into trouble, people joining wrestling
Mm.
teams, like all these things that would happen at a black high school. I I think of something like Lincoln Heights, but a book series
Okay.
called Bluford High, and so I've been rereading those. That's been a big thing for me. And I'll say the third thing. The third thing for me that it's been drawn. So I have been starting to draw. Like I drew as a kid, but
Mm.
and kind of to be an artist creator was like the original dream. But then I quickly fell out of that when I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna play guitar. So I got to choose something. So all the hours that would have went to practicing drawing went to playing breakdowns and hardcore riffs. But I'm getting back into drawing, and I started a an Instagram page just to embarrass myself. So every day I draw something, and I do little video essay vlogs of like, hey, this is what I drew today. This is the how to draw book that I read through, and that's what I've been doing. It's called Premium Artillery, but that's been a thing where it's like literally every day. Like I know around like 9 or 10 o'clock, like I'm gonna sit down and draw. If it's an earlier day or if I'm doing a con or something, I'll sit behind my table and draw something. So that's been a thing that I've really started to enjoy. So I'll say
Okay.
wrestling, reading novels, and drawing.
Nice. I'm gonna ask you something about wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Hangman's going to take the belt off of Moxley, or do you think a returning um oh my god, my man that just went up Everest? Damn.
Oh, Darby Allen.
Yes,
I love Darby. Darby scares me because he's so
he
goddamn
does.
insane.
He does everything.
He's insane. I thought, all right, so I was not to flex on anybody, but I'm a big wrestling guy. So I was at goddamn, what do they call it? The one that they do at Arthur Ashe Stadium.
All in.
No, not All In. It's the one they do.
Oh, oh, Yeah. I know the name that you're trying to say too.
Yeah, it's not the PLE, but it's like one of their bigger fests that they do at the Arthur Ashe Stadium, and
Because it's
it's
like in between All Out and All In, I think.
yeah, exactly. It's that one. It's the for people that I'm blanking on the name, but last
Mm-hmm.
year Darby and Moxley had it right before, right before Daniel Bryan and Bryan Danielson won the belt. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was right before then. Um, God damn it. It is killing me that I'm going to remember the name
For real.
of this PLE slash.
As we just talked about being big wrestling fans.
Yeah, it's killing me. But I was there when Moxley and Darby Allin had the match, like leading up to All In last year. And, when he pulled up the carpet, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, Darby, like, what are you doing? I thought Darby was going to retire Bryan Danielson. I thought that was going to be the lead up.
Mm-hmm.
Darby needs the belt. Darby's definitely a face. I just don't know if it like maybe I sound like an old school territories booker where I'm like, oh, we can't have him be the face. We can't have him be. We can't have him hold a title. We don't want
I
people do. We don't want people doing those things. But if I had my way, Hangman takes the belt, and then we get that second reign. We get Hangman Swerve 2, and we
oh
get Swerve second title run. Like that's what we get. Like we get it off Moxley. Hangman just when he's starting to feel comfortable. Swerve is like, we still have beef. Like this is not done, and we get
mm-hmm.
that second Swerve run. Because I do feel like Swerve's run kind of got cut a little short to get the belt on Bryan Danielson because he was retiring. Makes sense,
Yeah.
bro. Have your retirement tour, but that way we can get a proper dominant Swerve, like or
Mm. I swear I love the fact of seeing a modern wrestling blood feud.
yeah,
And for them to both be faces now, and I love the fact that he was like, "You deserve it." He goes, "I know," and it threw him all off guard.
yeah,
I don't remember ever hearing like that acknowledgement and that accountability. It made me go, "Wait," because I already loved the story, and I was like, "Wait, what?" It drew me in more. These
yeah,
two characters who are almost they're almost there, but they're still like, no, like because of look, my man, he did break into his house
yeah.
and my man burned down his childhood home. And like there's something to use like, and I love that they don't wash over it, they don't neglect it.
Yeah.
They're there. I'm a huge wrestling fan.
Oh,
Like I
and I
have to
just
actually
I just remembered the Grand Slam. I was at
yes,
Grand
oh yes,
Slam. I was at Grand
thank
Slam last
God.
year.
Because I
Where,
was gonna go Google right after this and be looking up like how do I
yeah,
forget? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, Grand Slam,
I
yeah.
was at Grand Slam, so I got to see Darby and John Moxley and everything that happened there. So,
Yeah, wrestling is I have you ever thought about doing a wrestling comic? Like maybe like maybe like a mini series or something like that?
so that is it's when I say it's in the works, as in like I do this thing just to tell people a little bit of my creative process. I like to relate it to a 5-year-old that is telling you a story. Where I get an idea and I just write a big, long run-on sentence of everything that I think will happen. And it's like, all right, and then this, and then there's this guy, and he's gonna look like this, and blah 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 blah. Like, so I have a note that is a long run-on sentence that is an idea for a wrestling comic, and so we talked about my individual comics, and I'll kind of mention it here that I packaged them together in a graphic novel called The Blacktooth Battalion, which is
Yes.
kind of my homage to Shonen Jump because I bought Shonen Jump books from the grocery store when I was a kid, and you could get Yu-Gi-Oh, you could get Shaman King, you could get Bleach and all that there. And then for my super comic historians, you know that Amazing Fantasy and Detective Comics were anthology books.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the Blacktooth Battalion is for me, and I don't know if I'm gonna do a volume 2 and want to introduce more product properties. So that wrestling comic will start in the battalion as like give it a little tester to see how people are feeling it, and then you know do a little run with that. So that's an idea that I've been cooking, and every time I
Okay.
see a good gimmick or I see a cool wrestling clip, I'm like, let me save that. That way I can tell an artist to recreate this. It's like,
Well,
what is this match gonna look like? It's gonna look like TLC, all right, and we're gonna have instead of this is going to be the finisher, and I want you to mix these 3 ECW matches together in one.
Oh God.
And stuff like that.
Oh,
So
if I see anybody like New Jack coming in there, I know it's about to
yeah,
be hell in there. I know it's about to be just. Please don't have it be like the mass
yeah,
transit thing. Jesus,
yeah.
what the hell?
It's like, oh, and the manager, they're not gonna catch him just like they didn't catch Jim Cornette. So the manager just
Mm-hmm.
break his legs. It's so
Oh
I,
my God.
I keep notes of all those things, and
All
uh,
right. Well, I'm definitely waiting for that. Okay, so well, before I even ask you the last question, then I'm gonna ask this question: Who favorite wrestling entrance?
oh my god, Sandman ECW one night.
Oh, the entrance is longer than the matches. The
That's
entrance is
that
who
that
has longer entrance, him or Undertaker?
that is that one night stand up coming through the crowd is like the coolest thing ever. And it's so funny. Like I thought about this literally in the gym the other day because I like drill rap or whatever, right? And I'm listening to this rapper Skrilla, and I'm like, yo, if I could direct a music video, it would be at the Hammerstein. We would have him. It would be like the Sandman walking through. Like that would be the music video because it's almost like a drill video where everybody is around him. Everybody's tight.
Mm-hmm.
Shit look like Bobby Smurder, look like Fabio Pop Smoke, any other drill video. Like somebody needs to recreate that. Somebody needs to homage that.
And they never knew where he was. Like, but Paul Heyman was like, we didn't know where he was coming out, so we would just have it around. And then we find
Yeah,
him, like when you hear like everybody like cheering and just follow him, and he just drunk as hell. Like Dark's, shout out to Dark Side of the Ring. Those stories and finding out more about those things that happen and watching the Sandman when I was like, oh wow, you so informative on that industry and everything that happens, and it's crazy. It's just crazy. It's crazy, but it's beautiful at the same time.
uh, I obviously when you're a wrestling fan, you always have to debate it that people are like it's fake. I'm like it's predetermined.
Exactly.
We know who's gonna win, and we just hope that we get there.
Yeah.
We hope it works out, and it's like the best drama ever because like yeah, I mean, aside from Dennis Rodman, like when it came to basketball, nobody was really making things super entertaining outside of the court. Like yeah, you get Anthony
Yeah.
Edwards with his little baby mama drama, but like you hear these wrestlers and the things that they are doing outside and the lives that they're living. It's like,
Crazy.
yeah, how did you make it to the arena? Like,
Crazy. Like
I,
when like kayfabe was an actual thing and you could get like stabbed or beaten up because people really thought you were that person.
that mixed in with just like I mean
Wild.
you hear Undertaker and BSK and them being like yeah so we started BSK because the click was annoying and then you're like all this shit that they're doing in WCW it's like how did you not it did, like even the stories of Booker T being like I didn't think I was gonna be a champion it's fucking good old
Yeah.
boy promotion and it's like you still came to work and like you were still navigating that and it's like
Every day.
it's unbelievable.
And taking all those bumps and still thinking, well, I'm not going to be a champion, and still putting your physical health on the line.
Yeah.
Like still like it's just yeah, it's one of the most incredible art forms out there. It just yeah, I'm gonna go with like after this, I'm actually gonna go catch up on Dynamite and Collision from this past
Yeah.
week. I might even watch like some old AEW like
Yeah.
pay-per-views too. Yeah, you definitely got my mind like thinking about it now. Um that is a great entrance. I don't for me, like whenever I make a character, like if I'm wrestling and I make a character, I'm either going with Taz because Taz is so
Oh,
simple.
Taz is a monster.
I'm
It's
talking
kind of
ECW, Black
yeah,
Rat, and just standing there, just like just us. Or I got to go with Finn Balor. Finn Balor's previous heel,
yeah,
excuse me, on face one,
yeah,
because that when the lights come up and he just like, and even when he's like when he's on the turnbuckle, and the way he even has his legs, it's so different. It's like, and I'm not even talking about like the demon. The demon was cool, but that his was just so cool. It's
uh,
just something there. It's just yeah,
justice for Finn, man. He is another person that
yeah,
put him to the moon already, man. Like, oh
yeah.
god,
He was a universal champ for what, one night for 24 hours.
bro. Ah.
That was heartbreak. That was heartbreak. Okay, so all right, so All right, so final question. Like I said, it's one of two things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you the one that I haven't asked anyone. What do you want your legacy to be?
Uh, I want if I was man in my fraternity, right? We have a couple bossilus, and a bossilus is like a grand, like a president, right?
Hmm.
And we have a few of them that are like very revered, right? And like one of them that's very revered, he established a lot of chapters, and we talk about him a lot in the history. So if I was to relate my legacy, I would. I kind of want to be like that. And when I say I want to be like that, like I don't necessarily want to be remembered as like, yo, Omari was the best comic book writer. He had the best pencils. If when I started learning how to draw better or anything like that, like I more so wanted to be like Omari did things and continued to do things. Like you, and when I say continue to do things, it's like, yo, when Omari put out a book, bro, it's like he put out 6 books this year, almost like a related to like a West Side Gun, like a West Side Gun. He has an
Okay.
incredible body of work. When you look at all the stuff with Griselda and having his crew around, or you even look at like a Master P. Whereas like
Mhm.
people might not say Master P was the best rapper, but it's like, bro, I'm willing to argue Master P. He put every like with his name. There was a time when people were going gold just because you were No Limit, or even
Yes.
like I'm a big hip hop fan on top of everything else that I am. I look at like I was a Gucci fan, right? And you look at Gucci
Mhm.
and it's like you damn near can't say mixtape without Gucci. Whether it's like you're talking about Dolph, you're talking about the Migos, you're talking about Thugs, the Little Babies. It's like Gucci touched everybody. Like everybody has a song with Gucci. Like I kind of want my legacy to be that, where it's like, yeah, I'll do a Marvel book, I'll do a DC book, a Dark Horse book, like a kid that just wants a chance. Like I want to be tangible enough to where it's like, yo, Amari gave me a shot, man. Like my book wasn't too good, but Omari actually read it when he handed it to me at a convention, or like I saw Omari in the mall and I told him I did this, and I gave him my card, and he actually emailed me back. Like I want to do all the things I say I'm gonna do. So I want to be able to touch people. I want to put out great stuff, and I you can't please everyone, but I want enough people to interact with me to be able to like, yo, say what you want about Omari. He gave it to you straight and he tried his best.
That fits into everything. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing to be able to say that he continued.
Yeah,
He continued. He did this, but he continued, not just with his own, but having the repercussions, having the ripples in the pond to go out to everything and to be able to touch everything. And again, that's what the culture and community is. Whether you're working on your stuff, when you can look at a shelf and see all the different publishers, and you can see your name throughout these publishers, or see a name like, oh, or your name brought up, oh well, Amari was my mentor, or Amari wrote the acknowledgement for my book. Amari helped me with this XYZ, what have you, and just having that outreach and being able to say, you can look at a whole shelf and you can see different parts of me in it, whether I co-wrote it, whether I drew it,
yeah,
whether I have the acknowledgement in it, whether maybe I edited it, whether I have a co-writing, whether this is my mentor, what have you. Like they're all a part of me and a part of that legacy. So that, yeah, that definitely hits. So on that note, everybody else I've asked snacks. That's why I asked you something different. I was like, yeah, let me ask you something different. Let me go around. So folks, look, Omari is like I said, someone who I just love the anthology, and I loved the varying stories of these characters from uh from powers from tattoos, shape shifting, to talking to dogs with energy projection, which threw me off too. I was like, wait, what? I had to go back and make sure I read the panel right. I was like, wait, what am I on? I was like, wait, everything is coming out and it's great. Um, to finding out that you have this huge love of wrestling, actually geek culture in general, just everything apart, not just one. genre, but everything a part of it, which is even great. Between wrestling, novels, music, everything is beautiful. So I want to say thank you so very much for joining us this evening, Amar. Thank you so very much, truly.
Listen, man, I appreciate you having me. This has been awesome. I've been enjoying nerding out with wrestling. It's one of even the other things that we talked about. This one has been a delight. So I really appreciate it.
One day I will ask you on, and we will just talk about wrestling. Just rant. We will just start with wrestling, and just wherever it goes with wrestling, we'll go from gear to promotions to favorite heel to favorite plunder match to
Yeah,
what weapon would you hate to get hit with. We'll go through everything possible.
I'm down for it. I'm down for it.
Bet. So, folks, thank you so very much for joining us. This has been, excuse me, Omari Malik. Check out Bluetooth. Bluetooth. Jeez, what? No, it's been a long day. I've been up
About
since
that
like
time.
3 a.m. Man, it's a
It's
horrible.
about that time.
Look, Blacktooth Publishing, Snakebite, Dogpile, Adestra. They're awesome stories. Where they're each giving you different aspects of not necessarily superhero, but being a human being and then having powers. All those complexities. And go check out some wrestling.
Yes,
Go
please.
check out some wrestling. Like
Check out,
any
check out
promotion.
check out some indie promotions too, man. Like there's
Yes.
so many dope black indie wrestlers. Like I don't want to butcher the name, but there's like this black indie promotion out of North Carolina. I think
Ashe?
I said yes. That's
I
how
was
you.
just about to ask you. All
So,
right, bet. All right, bet. Yeah, yeah.
so please tap in with them. Like I want people to tap in with them. My local indie, because I live in New York, is House of Glory. So I go to House of Glory shows a lot. Like you know,
Have you ever been to oh no, that is House of Glory. Sorry, yeah,
yeah,
because Santana just
yeah. Santana is
yeah,
about to do his program with Trick. It's
yo.
it's I I love it. That's why I like the indies because it's like right when Ricky Starks right before he went to NXT, I saw him wrestle at House of Glory, and then like 2 weeks later,
Oh,
I'm like, oh shit, Ricky, look at you.
bro. Yeah. Well, we definitely got it because there's so much I want to talk about. Like Santana is just one of those
Yeah,
cats that I remember old LAX on TNA, like
yeah,
watching, not knowing about it. And then that's another thing. Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself.
for sure.
That's for real. So, folks, yes, in the future, maybe a couple months from now, we will be having an all wrestling episode. We will just be talking about wrestling. I'll even start the episode with like a bell dinging. So I
Yeah,
don't know. We'll go with that route. So, folks, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. It's warm. I don't know where you're at, but it's probably warm. Drink some water. Take care of yourself. And as always, F Trump.
yeah.
That's all I gotta say. All right. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you so very much. And see y'all later. Bye.